Welcome to the Love Energetics podcast. This is where self-love meets soulmate manifestation and where you become the magnet for the true love that you deeply desire. I'm your host, Maria Manifest. I'm a transformation coach that specializes in mindset, manifestation, self-image, and relationships. And I'm the creator of the Love Energetics method, which is what we always go into on this podcast. In each episode, I'm going to be sharing mindset shifts, manifestation strategies, and self-love glow-up secrets that transformed my love life and the lives of so many other women. Because when you step into your lucky in love identity, your dream relationship is inevitable. So you've made your soulmate manifestation list, visualized your dream relationship, maybe even wrote a letter to your future partner, yet nothing is happening. Does that sound familiar? Many people focus on the desire of what they're manifesting, but they don't really focus on becoming the version of themselves that can receive that love, and that is an energetic match to that desire. Because at the end of the day, manifestation doesn't work that way. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are being. You attract what you believe you deserve. This is always the missing piece that I think people talk about, but it's not always easy to do at a cellular level where you're actually going to foster true long-term change. And that's all about embodiment. And we're going to be talking about that and diving deeper into what that looks like today. We're going to go into everything that you need to do to become a vibrational match to the love that you desire. This episode is going to break down why manifestation is not sufficient on its own to manifest your soulmate, especially long term, and how love energetics shifts your internal world to create soulmate level relationships. So yes, we are going to make the soulmate list, but we're not just going to make the soulmate list and then do nothing to change our lives and expect this guy or this girl, whoever, to just fall out of thin air, this perfect person, when you're not doing anything to grow, level up, and change yourself. Because at the end of the day, if deep down you still carry wounds and insecurities, limiting beliefs about love, those are going to override your conscious desires. And they're not going to foster a healthy relationship like the one that you envision and imagine for yourself. And let me give an example of what that looks like so that you can better understand what I'm saying. For example, if you want a confident, emotionally available partner, but you are still dealing with feeling insecure and you still have abandonment wounds, that is not going to make you an energetic match to somebody who is emotionally available and confident and secure within themselves. It's just a conflicting state of being, which is also a conflicting vibration. You're just not going to attract and magnetize to each other. And even if you do temporarily, it's not going to last. That is why people who have conflicting issues like something like this do not last. They break up. It doesn't really turn into something deeper because they can't override these issues that make them not energetically aligned. So a really good next step that you could take is if you have written a soulmate manifestation list or you want to write one, write down what you want in a partner and then look at it from the lens of you. Are you this person? Obviously if you're a woman and you're attracting, a dominant masculine man, I don't mean that necessarily, but if you want somebody who's loyal, if you want somebody who's into fitness and driven and health oriented, like the other thing, confident and emotionally available, are you those things? That is the question that you need to ask yourself. And if you're not those things, that is where the work is that needs to be done. And so going deeper into that, a big piece of this healing inner work that we're required to do in order to manifest this deep soulmate love. And just a quick side note, I'm talking about deep soulmate love, like attracting your soul aligned partnership, like the person that is truly your soul complement, not just some guy that you got into a relationship with that you kind of like, he has some good qualities, has some bad qualities, but you just make it through and it's just, your average relationship. That's not what we're talking about here. Okay. We're talking about like the dream relationship. Okay. The person that is everything that you desire, that deep love, like your real life rom-com. So before I digress, I just want to distinguish the difference between those two things, because you can just be in a relationship. There's so many people in relationships, but what there isn't many people in is these type of soul aligned partnerships. So I just wanted to clarify that for future podcasts as well. That is always the type of relationship that I'm going to be talking about. So anyways, going deeper into that work to be that vibrational match to that soulmate that you are envisioning for yourself, right? Your soul aligned partner. A big piece of that is self-image, which what I talk about it with the term, it's kind of interchangeable, but self-love. So self-love, self-image, self-worth, your internal value, your story about yourself and your story about your relationship to love, life, dating, all of that stuff is really encompassed under the self-image bucket. I personally like using the term self-love. That really resonated with me. I feel like back when I was first learning about manifestation back in 5 years ago in 2020, self-concept was a really big term. Now I feel like we're moving into the self-image as the main term. But at the time, self-concept didn't really resonate with me. I'm like, okay, I get what that means, but it just didn't hit hard. So for me, I felt like I needed to really truly love myself. That was something that was missing for me and something I felt was necessary before I could really be in my dream relationship and really just be happy in my life. And at the end of the day, I still love using this term because love, unconditional love, is the highest frequency you can vibrate at besides enlightenment. Love is one of the most powerful frequencies and forces of the universe. So why wouldn't you want to unconditionally love yourself, right? Imagine if you unconditionally love yourself, how powerful you could be to live your dream life, be with your dream person. You could change the world, right? That is such a powerful thing to truly love yourself. So that's why I like to teach the self-image work from the lens of self-love, because you truly need to have a relationship with yourself to have a relationship with a partner that is fulfilling. So that's why I call it self-love, but I will interchangeably use self-love and self-image. But that is also kind of the reason I named my method the Love Energetics Method, because self-love is the foundation. It is the core. It is, the foundation of a home, right? You need the self-love before you can build anything else before the house. There's so much to dive into the world of self-image, and we're always going to constantly be diving into that on this podcast. But one thing I really want to talk about is that lucky and love mentality. If you follow me on Instagram or YouTube, TikTok, any other areas of my work, you have probably heard me talk about the lucky and love mentality. My workbook is called Becoming Lucky and Love. And the reason for that is because I constantly saw myself as unlucky in love for the majority of my life. I think that's a really common phrase that people say when they just don't have good luck in dating, right? Oh, I'm just unlucky in love. And that was something I thought about myself. And for so long, I didn't know okay, well, why? I have a good job. I have friends. I'm attractive. I'm not this terrible looking person. Even when I wasn't really confident in myself, I knew I was at least attractive. Now I love the way I look and everything. And I believe I'm beautiful. But at the time, I at least was okay, I have qualities, what is happening? So I just would see myself as unlucky in love. And I basically believed that there was no rhyme and reason to it. That was just the hand I was dealt. And I didn't know, I felt very victim minded and very powerless to do anything to change the results I was getting in dating. Think about this. Do you unconsciously view yourself as unlucky in love? Because if you do, you don't even need to think necessarily the term, oh, I'm unlucky in love. But if you think I just always have shitty dating experiences, or love never works out for me, anything that kind of go under the unlucky in love bucket, if that is the way your mind, your subconscious mind specifically, because the subconscious mind manifests 95% of our reality, if that's a way that your mind sees you, that's how you identify yourself, which usually results from past experiences. So if you've had a lot of shitty experiences, then you probably do have this as part of your identity to at least some extent. Your subconscious mind is always going to continue to seek proof of that. It's always going to look to validate that belief. If you believe that you are unlucky in love, your subconscious mind, and this is literally science, your mind has something that we call the reticular activating system, which is almost like a filter that filters through your reality to show you more of what you believe in. So that's why when you have these assumptions, that's why like people talk about the law of assumption. When you have these assumptions, you see more of that because that is the way that your mind is filtering your reality. So when it comes to soulmate manifestation, right, when we get back to the main point of this video, if you make a soulmate manifestation list and you believe you're unlucky in love, your self-image isn't going to outperform your beliefs. So you're not going to be able to become lucky in love just because you wrote down your soulmate manifestation list and visualized what that relationship would be like a couple times. So the key is to shift to the lucky in love identity, which is my signature framework, the Love Energetics method. So I teach you all about how to shift into the lucky in love identity. And that is really key to manifesting your dream love life, right? Like even like having really great dating experiences when you're single and dating, into having your dream relationship and also maintaining that dream relationship, right? Because you don't want to manifest your soulmate and then you guys break up. You know, you want to get engaged and get married, most likely. You want to at least be with them long term, right? So that's why you need to be in that lucky in love identity, because that is going to get you your ideal love life scenario no matter what stage you're in. And really, like, I would say this is honestly kind of perfect timing with Venus retrograde going on. The first thing that you really need to do before you even try to shift into that lucky in love mentality is doing healing, inner work, all of that shadow work stuff. That's really like, you have to do that first before you start to shift, because manifestation without healing is like trying to build a mansion on a cracked foundation. Like it's not going to last you long term, and it's going to cause more problems in the long run. And it's really not going to get you like the results that you want necessarily, like maybe like a little bit, maybe temporarily, maybe you get halfway there, but not like to the full extent of what you want. I would say also, if you don't do the healing work, you're not actually going to love the result. I find too that a lot of people that might be able to manifest but kind of like skip a lot of the healing work, when they get the desire that they were manifesting, the feeling that they thought that they were going to have isn't actually there because they didn't do the proper healing work before they got there. So that is really important. And that is why that is the first phase of my Love Energetics method, is the healing era. I just call it the healing era. I love calling things eras. So I just am like, okay, healing era. That's usually what I take my coaching clients through, regardless of what situation they're in, because everybody has healing work that they probably have not done, especially on the deeper level that I teach. So that is foundational too, you know, along with self-love being the foundation, healing is foundational. You need to be doing that before you try to shift and change anything. And usually this healing work is focused on healing past heartbreaks and letting go of resentment. I'm actually going to make a whole podcast episode on this letters method that I teach to all of my coaching clients to help you heal from past heartbreaks and like resentment, wherever you have like stored up anger, shame, regret, you know, things like that, like unfinished business with people, or you left off on a bad note and you just have all of this negative emotion just sitting in you wherever you kind of hold it. I have this letter method that I use and people love it. I mean, that was the first thing I did when I got to my breaking point. I was like, oh my God, okay, something has to give. Like when I got to my breaking point and I was ready to go all in on my transformation, this was the first exercise that I did, and it was the most powerful. I never had done the releasing from all of the things I went through, and I'm so happy that I did that before I tried to do anything else. So I'm going to make like a whole podcast episode on that because I think that can be really powerful for people. But that's one thing, right? Healing the past heartbreaks and letting go of all those negative emotions that you're harboring, you know, those grudges, the resentments, the things like that. Or even it's just like holding on to sadness, like you just haven't been able to let go of something. That's part of the healing and shadow work that we do. And then the other thing with the inner work, the shadow work, is addressing your subconscious fears, which is usually like things like abandonment or rejection or feeling unworthy. This really kind of manifests in a lot of different ways for people. Why it's so important, right, for you to address these subconscious fears is because what will happen is as you start to manifest and start to see positive changes in your reality, there's this little thing called self-sabotage, and your mind is going to self-sabotage, or your mind is going to convince you to self-sabotage whenever you're making positive progress. So say that you are going on dates, say you did meet a guy that you like, but you still have a fear of getting hurt again, a fear of being abandoned. You might ghost him, or you might do something to scare him away, like sneaky enough, like you might just start getting really needy with him and subconsciously putting too much energy in too quick, and you end up pushing him away. You do that because of those subconscious fears and those abandonment wounds. So that is why it's so important to do that work as well in the healing era. I think it's also really good too to like understand your attachment style and how it plays into your relationships. But I do truly believe that if you have an anxious attachment style, or what's the other one? Avoidant attachment style, that is unhealed work. That is an area of opportunity for you to heal so that you can get to that middle ground attachment style, that healthy attachment style. So think about what your attachment style is and like how it plays into your relationships. And that's going to really help you get more into your subconscious mind of what those fears are. So if you have an anxious attachment style, you probably do have abandoned wounds. Or if you have an avoidant attachment style, like you run from deeper emotions, deeper relationships and love, you probably have an unworthy, you probably have a worthiness wound where you don't feel like you're truly worthy of the love that you desire for whatever reason. You know, your self-image is low because you don't believe that you're worthy of it. So you run away from it when it comes towards you. So that's another thing to do during the healing inner work era. And so once you work through the healing, you do the shadow work, you do the releasing and all of that deep transformative stuff, then that's when you get into the self-love era, which I call just the self-love era. But that's when you get into actually doing that shifting work that we talked about with embodying that lucky and love identity. That's when you start to raise your confidence and raise your self-worth. That's really because, one, you need your identity to align with what you desire, right? Your subconscious is always going to show you more of what you believe. So you need to get those beliefs lined up with what you desire, but also raising your self-worth and raising your self-love and your self-confidence is going to raise your vibration. And that is going to attract that high vibrational soulmate partner that you're looking for. Because I would imagine if you are looking for your soulmate and you have this dream partner in mind, they usually have a lot of positive qualities, high value qualities, and that symbolizes a high vibrational person in a lot of ways. Not always 100% guarantee, but for the most part, yes. And so at the end of the day, you need to embody that high value energy yourself, right? So you do all of that in the self-love work. That transitions into my third phase in the Love Energetics method, which is the magnetic dating mastery focus. So not an era title, but the magnetic dating mastery focus, right? Because you need to embody that confident, high value energy when you're dating if you want to have successful dating experiences. And the last portion of the Love Energetics method is the Soulmate Manifestation, and see how that is the last phase of my process, is the Soulmate Manifestation part, which is like, making the list, doing the visualization. There's also a lot of connecting with your intuition and taking inspired action, things like that, because those are the last pieces of the puzzle. You have all of these other things that you need to do, all of that healing, all of that self-love, like all of that identity reprogramming, subconscious rewiring work. That is all required first before you even get to the manifestation portion, that soulmate manifestation portion. So that is really the message that I want to drive home, is that Soulmate manifestation, manifesting your soulmate is so much more than just what you think the soulmate manifestation list is. Like what people talk about is, oh, I did this one thing and then my guy came. Like it's not that simple, especially if you really want your long-term life partner and you want to, honestly too, I think another thing, honestly, while I'm thinking about this, is that I think for some people who do that, they might be subconsciously, like I'm just thinking through like some people who have done that and said like their soulmate came like right away. Those people probably just wrote down somebody that was very similar to them, was already on their level for the most part, and they attracted somebody with similar wounds, similar healing issues, and those will typically come out down the road, because manifesting your soulmate doesn't mean everything's perfect all the time, but the more healing work, I have found that the more healing work that you do, the more work you do on the front end before you manifest your soulmate, the easier, effortless, more happy and successful the relationship is going to be, because your partner is always going to be reflecting you. So that's just like my little side note of my theory as to people who like do a soulmate manifestation list and do instantly manifest that person. It's because they're already trying to attract somebody at their level. This is more like if you're trying to attract somebody that is like aligned with the higher self version of you, you know, that high value, top tier version of you. I just feel like that made sense to include. So kind of just going back to that manifestation soulmate list, right? Like that is so powerful. Manifesting your soulmate, doing that soulmate manifestation list, doing the visualizations, the scripting, the affirmations, all of that is so powerful. It's so important and it is necessary, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. True soulmate love happens when you align your identity, beliefs, and action with the love you desire. And honestly, the real secret is you want to be able to fall in love with yourself and love yourself, love your energy, love your vibe so much, be so happy with who you are, have so much unconditional self-love for yourself that manifesting your soulmate just becomes an added bonus. Not the validation, not filling the void, not something outside of you that you're seeking. It's just an added bonus to your life. There's so much in here that we can continue to dive deeper in. So make sure like you guys either like DM me on Instagram, send me an email, or comment below on this video, especially if you're watching on YouTube, and let me know what part of this episode do you want to hear more about? What questions do you have? How can I be more helpful? I'd also just love to know what really resonated with you in this episode and what are like 3 biggest shifts that you're seeing after you watched this and implemented some of the stuff that we talked about. I'm definitely going to continue to dive deeper in future episodes, but I would love to get your feedback as early on as possible so I can continue to share more of what is helpful for you guys and what is going to give you the most powerful transformation. So that's all that I have today for this episode of the Love Energetics podcast. I hope you really enjoyed it. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe. I would really love and appreciate the support. And follow me on Instagram. I do post a lot of behind the scenes stuff on there, especially on stories. I think that would be really fun to connect on there. I love DMing with you guys. I love talking with you, hearing things that are going on in your life, hearing about your wins, your transformations. So let's definitely connect. Then also, if you haven't downloaded my free workbook, Becoming Lucky in Love, do that, because that is a great next step in embodying that lucky in love identity. And if you are really resonating with that healing era portion and you feel like that is something that you really are called to dive deeper into, highly recommend that you sign up for the Love Energetics one-on-one experience with me. Let's get that one-on-one coaching and let's really dive deep into where you are ready to heal and where you're ready to transform. And I shouldn't even say ready, like where you need to heal and transform to get the love that you desire, because healing is never always a pleasant experience. Sometimes it's like a means, you know that you need to do it and it feels good to have done, right? It feels better on the other side, but sometimes it can be a little bit of a difficult, challenging situation to get through, which is why it is so helpful to have me as your coach, to be accountable. I'll help you through it. I will guide you through any roadblocks that you're having. I have seen my clients shift in their healing era way faster than I ever did, way easier than I ever did, because they have my tools, strategies, and methods, and they have me guiding them and keeping them accountable and really asking them the right questions and giving them the right tools to get deeper. So if you're interested in that, highly recommend. I have all the information in the links below on everything: my Instagram, my YouTube, my free workbook, my coaching, everything. But I'm really happy you got to the end of this episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of value from it. And I can't wait to see what you guys think of the next one. I can't wait to connect with you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day.